My dear brothers and sisters, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. We'll continue with Nida'atul Iman, with those verses that started with Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. And today's verse, the verse number 149 from Surah Ali Imran, chapter 3, verse 149. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Exalted, said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن تطيعوا الذين كفروا يردوكم على أعقابكم فتنقلبوا خاسرين. O you have believed, if you obey those who disbelieve, they will turn you back on your heels and you will then become losers. We know this verse revealed as part of those verses talking about the battle of Uhud. And as you know, the battle of Uhud was one of the hardest days for the believers. And that was a great lesson for them. And when you learn from your fault became actually something being needed. If that give you a great lesson and a strong lesson, so you made the reasons that led to that result. In fact, if you learn from that mistake, you turn that the negative result to be something for you, not against you. So the Sahaba learned, from what happened in the day of Uhud as the main reason for their failure. And I use the word failure because Allah said, حَتَّى إِذَا فَشِلْتُمْ. The main reason for their failure was the obedience. That's what happened when they disobey, the order and the command of our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And some of them was not in their heart that to disobey him, but they have not followed the directions as the Prophet directed. So they interpreted his word differently, and that what happened. And the result of that were 70 of Sahaba were killed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a lesson, told them, do not obey those disbelievers. And what happened? After the battle, some of those disbelievers, and among them munafiqun, those are hypocrites. They said, لَوْ أَطَعُونَ مَا قُتِلُوا. If you obey us, that's what never happened to you. No, that's the destiny of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's not because if we have to follow you. This is the result. We carry the consequences because of our fault. And some of them, they said, you should follow and go back to your parents and to your families. They were discouraging them from following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and following his orders. And also the disbelievers in this, that the people of Scripture, and at the time some of those are Jewish, they said, if he's the truly a prophet, that will never happen to him. That will never have that kind of failure and you lose the battle. Who said that? This is the sunnah of Allah, the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have set to believers or disbelievers. If you take all means and prepare yourself and you work hard, Allah will grant for you the good result. Otherwise, do not blame anybody except yourself. So it's not because of you are believers that means that, you know what, I should not do anything and Allah will grant victory over me. No, it's not the true belief. So it has nothing to do with this. Even it's among you, the Prophet ﷺ, but you have disobeyed Allah's command and the Prophet ﷺ command, you might face the bad consequences of this. So they try to put kind of doubts in your heart. They try to put some misconceptions in your heart, and if you follow them, that will be the real lost. If you lose a battle or incident or any stages that throughout, when you're going to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you might have kind of failure or mistakes. That's fine. Losing a battle or losing one incident or one event, that's something you can recover. But losing your faith and losing that relation between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the real lost. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِن تُطِيعُوا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يَرُدُّوكُمْ عَلَى أَعْقَابِكُمْ فَتَنْقَلِبُوا خَاسِرِينَ. And the consequences of that you will go back to darkness and you'll be among the losers. They're going to lose the dunya and akhirah. So it's very bad result if you're following the steps of those disobeyed Allah and His Messenger. We know for a fact this verse was addressing the believers at that time, but not limited to them. العبرة بعموم اللفظ لا بخصوص السبب. So we carry that verse as well to our time. So that verse fit with all times and all places. It's not only limited to that. As believers, we have to be distinguished from those that are disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not follow their ways or their method or their lifestyle or the way how they are doing. We should follow the command of Allah and His Messenger. Otherwise, same consequences that we are going to face. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن تطيعوا الذين كفروا يردوكم على أعقابكم فتنقلبوا خاسرين. Is that applied in our time? Of course. There's no doubt. We should not be naive. We should not be just, following and imitating others without understanding our duties. We are the ones should lead humanity. We are the one being chosen to guide others, to be leaders, not followers. The Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. Why is that? Because we are carrying the high morals. We are carrying the divine teaching. And that's why we have to share that with others. So when you follow them, that means you are going to drop your teaching. And which is better, the teaching of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or what you are going to borrow from others. However, this ayat not talking about something is not related to religion or those things whereas has nothing to do with the practice. Something it's part of tradition and not contradict the teaching. That's not something that the Islam discourages us to borrow it from others. This has nothing to do with this. So we are talking about things that has relation to our creed, has relation to our faith, has relation to our tradition, and something that contradicts with our teaching. And that's something we have to understand. When the ayat revealed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله, those they choose their rabbis and their leaders to be partners with Allah, which means they really consider them as gods and they neglect the command of Allah. So the comment came from the Sahaba. They said they have not actually worshipped them. That's what they said. They never choose them as gods. Then the Prophet told them, did they obey them and they disobeyed Allah? Did they obey them and disobeyed Allah? They said yes. He said, then that's what Allah meant with the ibadah, with the act of worship. So when you obey somebody, and by doing so, you're disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as if you are actually giving the act of worship to them. As if you are starting, follow them, and neglecting the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to understand, it's not just, we are choosing the good from what they have. No, they have good things. If that not related, to our deen, there's no harm that to borrow or to use or to take care of that, and take that from them. But if something related to our principles, our faith, our dogma, that should not be. We have seen many of those Muslims, they fall in the trap. As the Prophet mentioned the hadith, لَتَتَّبِعُنَّ سُنَنَ مَنْ قَبْلَكُمْ شِبْرًا بِشِبْرٍ وَذِرَاعًا بِذِرَاعٍ حَتَّى لَوْ دَخَلُوا جُحْرَ ضَبٍّ لَدَخَلْتُمُوهُ. May Allah protect us all, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us, all the time, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us following the kitab and sunnah, and not to die unless on kitab and sunnah. Ameen. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت